Three of the most dangerous men in American history. 3 different decades, 3 different states. And every single one of them was caught because of the exact same kind of mistake. Not a brilliant detective, not a lucky break. They trusted something they shouldn't have. I'm Vanished Witness, and every week I go back through the cases nobody can fully explain. The ones where the how is almost stranger than the crime itself. Today, 3 killers, 1 shared mistake. Let's start with the first one. For over a decade, a man calling himself BTK bind, torture, kill, terrorized Wichita, Kansas. 10 victims between 1974 and 1991. Then, nothing, silence. For over a decade, to everyone around him, he wasn't a killer. He was a married father, a Boy Scout leader, the president of his church council. In 2004, on the 30th anniversary of his first murders, a local paper ran a story asking the same question the city had been asking for 30 years. Who was BTK? And was he even still alive? That story did something nobody expected. It brought him back. He started communicating again, letters, packages, taunts sent directly to the media and to the police who'd spent decades hunting him. And here's where it gets interesting. He wanted to keep talking, but he was cautious. At one point, he directly asked investigators a question. Could a floppy disk be traced back to a computer? They told him no. He believed them. In February 2005, a floppy disk arrived at a Wichita television station. On it, a file with his usual taunts. But hidden inside that disk was something he never meant to send. A deleted Microsoft Word document, a church meeting agenda. And buried in that file's metadata were 2 small details. The document had last been saved by someone named Dennis. And it came from an organization called Christ Lutheran Church. A quick search told police exactly who that was. Dennis Rader, council president at that exact church. 10 days after that floppy disk arrived, police pulled him over near his own home. It was quiet. It was undramatic. 31 years of terror ended with a routine traffic stop, because of a file he thought he'd deleted. The mistake wasn't complicated. He asked permission to trust something. And when he was told it was safe, he believed it. That's mistake number 1. Trusting a lie about what could be traced. The second one is almost the opposite. This time, nobody lied to him. He just didn't think it through. By 1978, Ted Bundy had already escaped police custody twice. He'd crossed the country under a fake name, leaving a trail of murders behind him in multiple states. He was, by that point, one of the most wanted men in America. And on a February night in Pensacola, Florida, at around 1 in the morning, he was driving a stolen Volkswagen Beetle down a quiet residential street. A local police officer named David Lee noticed the car. Nothing about it screamed serial killer. It just seemed slightly off. Late night, empty lot. A car that didn't belong. So he did what any officer would do on a routine patrol. He ran the plates. The car came back stolen. That's it. That's the entire reason the stop happened. Not a tip. Not a task force closing in. A patrol officer, on an ordinary night, running a routine check on a rare car that felt slightly out of place. Bundy fought back during the arrest. He even managed to briefly get free before being subdued. He gave police a fake name and refused to reveal who he really was for almost a full days. When they finally learned who they actually had in custody, it ended a killing spree that had lasted years and crossed state lines. The mistake wasn't some elaborate slip-up. He assumed that a stolen car, in a random town, in the middle of the night, simply wouldn't draw attention. It did to men, to very different mistakes. But watch what happens with the third case, because this one takes over 40 years to catch up with him. For more than 4 decades, a man committed at least 13 murders, more than 50 rapes, and over 100 burglaries across California. He was known by different names in different years: the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker, because for most of that time, investigators didn't even know they were chasing the same person. What almost nobody knew, until decades later, was that he'd once been a police officer himself. He understood exactly how investigations worked. He knew how to avoid leaving evidence behind. For 40 years, that knowledge kept him free, but DNA from old crime scenes had been preserved. And in the 2010s, investigators tried something new, uploading that DNA profile to a public genealogy database, the same kind of website people use to find long-lost relatives. It didn't give them a name. It gave them distant cousins. Over months, genealogists built out entire family trees from those distant matches, narrowing the search by age, location, and physical description, until one name kept surfacing: Joseph James DeAngelo. A family match wasn't enough to arrest him. They needed his actual DNA. So investigators watched him and collected DNA from something he'd thrown away. A used tissue, discarded in the trash outside his home. That discarded sample matched the DNA from the original crime scenes, decades earlier. 6 days later, he was arrested. The mistake wasn't recent. It wasn't even really a single moment. He simply assumed that once something was thrown away, it was gone. That trash was truly private. It wasn't. 3 men, 3 different decades. 3 completely different types of mistakes, but look at what actually connects them. None of these 3 were caught because of a brilliant detective moment, a lucky coincidence, or some dramatic breakthrough. Each one was caught because he trusted something he believed was untraceable. A disc he thought was empty, a car he thought wouldn't be noticed, trash he thought was gone for good. That's not a supernatural pattern. It's actually one of the most well-documented features of how long-running cases really end. It's rarely brilliance that closes these cases, it's overconfidence. 3 men, 3 different mistakes. One shared belief that they were smarter than what they left behind. If you had to guess, which untraceable thing do you think people still believe in today? Let me know in the comments. And if you want the next case file, hit subscribe. I post a new one every week.